Okay. Are you concerned about the 49ers?
You got to be a little bit. Some smart people, my favorite football, Jennings, picked them to miss the playoffs because he didn't think the injury luck would hold up the way it has year over year. That was a horrifying loss.
It was.
You're a touchdown favorite. Mm-hmm. I understand that as banged up as the Niners were, they drew the one team in the whole league that was decidedly more banged up than them at maybe more critical spots, and it was 14-0 immediately. It was like, okay, game over. Let me say this on front end because I guess this is what people expect me or want to hear me say. I thought Purdy played really well. Now, he had the opportunity late in the game to step on their throat like Tom Brady, and they went 3 and out and missed a field goal. But I thought it's what he said. He would show you the quote. He told us before the year the big difference for him, it's like Tom Brady kind of late in the game felt like Tom was going to take over, not make it.
I'm going to let this clip play. Don't worry. I'm going to come at this. I'm going to come at this because to even put anything, played really well. Brock Purdy was the best quarterback of week 3. He was the best quarterback. Look at the PFF rankings. He played unbelievable, unreal. I have my notes. I'm going to let the clip play and then I'll come at this, but oh my God, you can't even give flowers to the guy who you said can't do things without the Avengers. And now the team is injured so badly, and yet he plays just as good, if not better than when they are there. Unbelievable.
Close. I feel like I can get to that. I want to be dominant. That one didn't happen. But I thought he played real. That's true.
They left, he was great early on.
Yes, and he missed Ayuk was open on one thing, could ice the game. He didn't throw it. But I thought Purdy played really well. Really well. The person who I'm curious about how it landed on his desk is Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks got scapegoated last year.
Yeah, he did.
He went to the Super Bowl, and I thought they played pretty well defensively throughout their run, and Shanahan fired him. And this defense just let Matt Stafford and the kids who live on his block beat him. And so that's a tough spot, man. And so, yeah, I'd be a little concerned.
Look, obviously I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl. I picked Green Bay.
They are your backup.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to need my backup now, assuming Love comes back. But I didn't pick them to reach the Super Bowl for 2 reasons. One, I thought as well, the injuries, McCaffrey. No, Greg, that's true.
That's true.
Nick knows that. Yeah. The injuries were an issue, could be an issue. And internally, I don't think I said it publicly.
Okay.
Here we go. No, I had them on Funk Watch. I had them on Funk Watch.
You're such a fraud.
No, I'm saying, yes.
You're a television person.
Actually,
what's the value of having internal?
I think I did say, though.
No, you never said
If they don't get there.
Week. No, you mentioned that last week.
I didn't use the term Funk Watch. But I said, look, you've been there the last 5 years you've been there. And you haven't gotten over the hump. That's a lot
How
to
would
deal
the
with
members of your church feel here?
No, I'm serious.
You're just
I'm sharing my true feelings internally. Funk Watch.
Let me defend him real fast, Brew, here, because as someone who obviously makes stuff and like all that, I think about so many things that I don't always say out loud. I'm like waiting. I'm like, do I want to say this? Do I not? Do I feel this way? Do I not? So sometimes you're thinking, you're like, all right, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to say I'm confident in them, but you're still also thinking, yeah, but I still have maybe some doubts. And I try my best to voice everything that comes into my mind. I think out loud on here. I try to emphasize that I'm thinking out loud. I'm working through things, changing my opinion in real time to try to just give a more open and honest experience. But I think some people, the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because I feel like some people will try to call like nonsense on Brew, and I can just tell you that it's 100% accurate. I think that's kind of the difference between me and maybe some of these guys on TV is that they're a lot more buttoned up and say only like clearly defined takes, whereas I'm like, hey, let's actually just talk about this and look at it from all the different angles, whether it's right or wrong. Yeah, but that is really funny.
Watch. They're on Funk Watch. They're on Funk Watch. And now they're not there, but they're on Funk Watch. But I want to get to Purdy. And I want to put something to rest. I want to put something to rest.
All right, go.
I'm asking Nick.
The segment just got worse.
Can we do away with this?
Yes.
No one likes it.
No. But first it was he got to come back and from a deficit. He did that. Now Nick was like, well, let me see him without the Avengers.
He played well.
Let me see him without. No, I just want to know.
No, you said he played good, and then blamed him for not winning.
So you're no longer moving the.
Yes, I'll throw.
Because they win that game. Let me see this drop.
Oh my God!
They win that game. This is late. We need the
but this
victory,
doesn't help your
perfectly
case.
thrown pass.
Right, yeah.
And he
Perfect
dropped
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You know who would
It
have caught
hit him
that?
in a bad
An
spot.
Avenger.
The
Instead,
Hanks.
he's throwing to a
That's not
regular
how it works.
guy.
That's not how it
He
works.
Wow.
does need somebody that can catch
Wow.
the ball.
There you go.
All right, he
Exactly.
does need
Thank
a
you.
receiver that can catch the ball.
need
All
it.
right.
Greg,
throw
I'm
it away.
sorry you
So
guys.
I think we can do away with this.
You
Yeah,
pretty
Greg,
much
you have 3
said,
seconds.
They're on funk
you
watch
pretty
stuff.
much said my concern. Like this was what it was going into the season. Can this team stay healthy? It's not a matter of can they play excellent ball. We know that they're a really good team when they're all out there, but when they're not, that's what you're expecting. Other guys that typically aren't in those spots to step up and make plays and carry the load. You're talking a good 60-70% of your offensive production not in uniform yesterday. That's tough to overcome. But Sean McVay, I think he's getting no credit right now. The job that he was able to do yesterday,
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
They ran 12 personnel. They never ran
was
12 personnel ever
absolutely
last year.
brilliant.
They did it.
Okay. What did he just said? He said they were missing like 60-70% of their offensive production, and yet Brock Purdy went 22 for 30, 292 yards, 9.7 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 1 sack, a rating of 137. Yeah, it's pretty good. They didn't have an Avenger, but he turned Jennings into an Avenger for 11 receptions, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, he made one really great Avenger-like catch. Outside of that, man, that was all Shanahan and Purdy. Listen, they lost this game. It was a really tough loss, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to have big concerns. And I keep saying this in a bunch of my takes today. The Chiefs absolutely could have lost to the Bengals. They absolutely could have lost to the Falcons, okay? If you don't even, and the Bengals weren't full strength, and the Falcons were definitely not full strength, missing 2 starting O-linemen. They couldn't get the run game going, and yet they still had that game. They still absolutely could have won that game. Absolutely. So, just because it didn't work out for the 49ers automatically means that you have these big glaring concerns. I do not think that's fair. You're not going to be as good of a team when you're missing all of your weapons, okay? Like, that's just, you're not going to be as resilient of a team when you're missing all of your weapons. That's the way it goes. But it's so funny that Nick can't give the flowers, Purdy his flowers. I mean, he was so dynamic with his legs, right? And he ran for 41 yards, diving head first for first downs, right? Throwing on the move. I mean, he was just doing everything, extending plays. There was a time that he could have taken a sack, but he got out, he escaped, and was still able now to get positive yards to put them in field goal position to ice the game. And they did it. They missed it. Like, it was just, he just did unbelievable stuff. He had one throw. He had 3 guys in his face about to sack him. 3 guys. Hands in the face. And he throws a 30-yard strike to Ayuk for a first down. I mean, he just played unbelievable. The one throw that he had to a wide-open Jennings, which Sanchez pointed out, it was all because of Purdy. He was making a play from the pocket, which is what I talked about all last week. Being a playmaker from the pocket. And that's what he did. He kept the safety away with his eyes. That was Brock Purdy. Okay? That wasn't just an Avenger doing Avenger things or Shanahan just having scheming him wide open. That was all in Brock Purdy. And they said he doesn't think that Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are getting enough credit, which is understandable so. But Brock Purdy's not getting enough credit in this loss. I mean, he did everything to put them in a position to win. Everything. He left nothing out there. He consistently put the 49ers in a position to win. That's all you can ask. We give Patrick Mahomes all this praise for him doing the same thing, acting like he's throwing and catching, running and blocking and playing defense. All you can ask your quarterback to do is to not win you the game. It's to put you in a position to win the game. And that's what Brock Purdy did. It's not Brock Purdy's fault that they weren't able to step up and do it. He threw a dart for 40 yards that was dropped that would have won the game, which I think is the one highlight that they showed. I mean, he had a 20-yard pass in triple coverage that was just like stunning. Again, even Mark Sanchez, I think, was stunned during that one play, saying that throw needs to be exact. He was like, "Oh, they threw that in a Purdy threw that into a defensive meeting." I mean, I just don't understand what else you're asking this guy to do. What you're asking this guy to prove. He was the best quarterback this week in the NFL, and he's been consistently a top quarterback in the NFL weeks 1 through 3. Patrick Mahomes was ranked like 18th. Yikes. Patrick Mahomes is at a career low in all of his stats. Seems like maybe he benefits from having better players around him. I don't know. That doesn't. No, but Patrick Mahomes can do anything with anyone, right? He doesn't need a prime Travis Kelce who's fully healthy. He doesn't need great wide receivers, a run game, an O-line, a defense. He doesn't need those things. Yeah, he doesn't need those things. But yet his numbers go down. It's almost like the Chiefs as a whole are able to overcome those things, but not Patrick Mahomes, the individual, because Patrick Mahomes is indeed a human being like everyone else. So I just don't understand why Purdy, who has significantly less than, is competing at a very high level, is not getting the praise, but then you want to kind of say, oh, well, he didn't make this one throw. Patrick Mahomes is like top 3, top 4 in the NFL with turnover-worthy plays right now. I think he has like 6 in 3 games. That's not good. And yet now Brock Purdy still gets nickel and dimed for these things that are not really in his control, or just typical quarterback play. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to fumble. That's how the NFL works. That's how it works when you're a quarterback. Doesn't make sense. I love when we hold players to a higher standard. When we hold players to a high standard, it's because we expect great things out of them. It's why it makes sense to go through a fine-tooth comb on Patrick Mahomes and to point out any of the deficits, which is what makes people angry. Because you're talking about him being the GOAT. So when you are the GOAT, yes, you get scrutinized to the highest level. Just like they do to LeBron, just like they do to Michael Jordan, just like they did to Kobe, just like they do to, insert any other name. I forget if I said LeBron or not. That's what they do. They did it with Steph Curry. He's not even the GOAT, but he's obviously an all-time great. That's what you do. And now with Purdy, though, it's different, though. This is the difference. Because you're like, well, hey, they're just scrutinizing Purdy. It's high expectations. No. They only hyper-focus on the negatives. Never the positives. Even in a game where he plays great, where he does everything to put this team in a position to win, they want to say he played pretty good. He played well. He played great. He played elite. He was the best quarterback in the NFL week 3. What else do you want him to do? What else do you want him to do? And yet Nick is dropping banners for the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes is at a career worst. It's just, come on, man. Come on. Make it make sense. I can't. I really can't. I'm getting tired trying to make sense of it because I can't. I have notes. I wish you could see. I got just pages and pages and pages and pages of notes. And then just nonsense. I'm a firm believer that, because I love dissecting things. I love getting lost in the weeds. That's really what this channel is. I mean, when you really think about it, the foundation of it is thinking out loud, encouraging other people to share their thoughts, and getting lost in the weeds. Just overthinking everything, because that's the fun of it for me, honestly, is trying to analyze and figure stuff out. Right? Trying to really get to it, trying to really drill down and use the platform, because this isn't a TV show where we have commercial breaks and you only have like a 2-hour or hour or whatever window period of time, a 10-minute segment. We get to just like meander and talk and get lost in it. And that's my favorite thing. But I'm a firm believer that if we're going to emphasize some of the negatives, you got to emphasize the positives. You got to shine a spotlight on everything. You don't just, that's why I always laugh when people want to say I'm biased or that I'm a hater or a fanboy. It's like, I shine that spotlight to the best of my abilities on all the teams, on all the players, the teams or the players that I like or that I don't like. I do my best. And it's just like with the 49ers and Brock Purdy specifically, it's just, I don't understand what Brock Purdy has done. And you know what's funny? I'm not even a massive Brock Purdy fan. I'm not like, Brock Purdy's the greatest quarterback ever. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame and the GOAT. I'm not even that, honestly. I'm really not. But it's just like, I don't understand, though, what else they want this guy to do at this point. And I think the reason why I react this way, because at the heart of it, I'm a defender. Like, I will defend people, defend the honor of someone. Like, I'm very old school like that. Very Game of Thrones. Because it is thy name. And so I just don't get it. I don't get why in the NFL we're so quick to give other people the benefit of the doubt, and why we don't want to give praise to the people who then do good, and then we want to emphasize when they do bad, right? Brock Purdy gets penalized for any of the negatives that all quarterbacks do. And then he doesn't get any of the praise for when he does things that actually a lot of quarterbacks do not do. And that's how you could sum up Brock Purdy's public perception. But at the end of the day, if you're a 49ers fan, it's a good problem to have, because it just means your team's so great. I think I said that previously as well. It just means that your team is so great that they expect great things. And so anytime you don't do that, then you get some of the statements that we get before us. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Brock Purdy and the 49ers? And honestly, the implication that it was either the defense or even Brock Purdy. Like, Nick pretty much was like, yeah, you had a chance to win it, and Brock Purdy didn't. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.